Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
This was a Patreon exclusive yesterday, the dark hidden tragedy behind the Raggedy Ann and Andy story. It was something I wasn't aware of, but didn't really surprise me.
I know, and here I thought that there was one that was innocent.
Well, yeah, again, so much of our history is full of repeating cycles, if you know what I mean. Sri Lanka declares emergency. Death toll rises to 330. Again, we send our prayers to everybody over here in Sri Lanka, which is an island nation with a very, very interesting history. This was due to Cyclone Ditwa. Now, Indonesia has just lost almost double that amount, again, due to the crazy weather that we see across the globe. By the way, here in the U.S., you have a deepening storm moving through the Ohio River Valley. Places upstate New York, Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire, you might see half a foot to a foot of snow. We'll have to see how this develops. But this could be a good one, a pretty good size one, let's say. Meanwhile, did you see that horrible pileup in Indiana? Over 70 vehicles. This was just insane, this pileup. You gotta be so careful in the winter weather, even if you're used to it. I grew up in Connecticut, so, this was just par for the course, and I had a lot of jobs where you had to go in no matter what. And you just had to deal with it. I've seen so many horrible accidents over the years, especially up there in the Northeast in the winter time. This is Iowa City, Iowa, by the way. It's just a nightmare situation. This was from the 29th. It's winter, and you could say it happens in winter all the time. That's true. But we do have a lot of adverse conditions going on. This is Indiana, by the way. Black ice, that's one of the most scary situations. You ever feel yourself all of a sudden, going sideways? You put on the brakes, it doesn't do any good. Oh, and this is just, you gotta be careful out there. I hope all you guys will be careful and enjoy the winter wonderland.
Yeah, it's quite a wonder this year, though. I mean, things are really getting more and more intense.
Literally around the globe, there was all sorts of records broken in Thanksgiving. Of course, Thanksgiving only celebrated in the U.S., but at that time period, we're seeing early snow. We're seeing records falling. Des Moines, Iowa here. What did you get? You got a record, not since 1968, 9.9 inches of snowfall, the third biggest snowstorm on record in 140 years. But the thing is, they got 70% of what fell the entire season last year, already before December. Over in Poland, we have a Polish Airlines jet slipped off the runway when it was taxiing in Lithuania's Vilna airport. Again, this is all over. The weather seems very weird, and the sun is waking up as you have an X1.9 flare with an associated CME. This is, again, from the same sunspot region that gave us a bunch of X-class flares last month and now rotating back into view. What will it bring? Will it bring a Carrington event, or is that something that's still quite a ways off? We'll have to see. But we are going to have a Patreon video and a video on the members with an update from the Galactics on the situation on an evolutionary scale, because yes, there is evolution, there is creation, there's all of the above. It's of course not Darwinian evolution. That was given to us by a 33rd degree Mason, and we know the symbolism that they love to bring up with the master number 33 all the time.
No, this is a bit, it's a different kind of upgrade, but it's really important. So there's a lot of things we need to know about it.
Future of fertility chronically overestimated. So studies and reports, and we've seen a lot of things that just haven't turned out to be very accurate at all, such as the prophecies of Al Gore. They're not going to go down the record books for being very accurate at all. And yet, when you look to population, one thing that remote viewers have always seen when looking into the future, say past 2050, is a planet that seems to have, well, gone through certainly a human population event decline of monumental proportions, some sort of event or series of events. I think there's a lot of things going on. And, again, they give us and have given us, oh man, you're going to have over 10 billion people, I should say, by 2100 and this and that. Well, in fact, our human population is declining. It is declining. Birth rates are falling again. And, fertility is at record lows. We understand there are plastics in mother's milk and all sorts of forever chemicals and toxins in the environment. This is all impacting human fertility and the ability to reproduce. And, yet what can we do? What can we possibly do? I think we have to approach things in a very, very holistic manner. We have to, again, recognize, that we are embodied beings, embodied spirits. We have a vehicle. We have to take care of it. It's your temple. People who engaged in just 1 to 2 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise 3 times per day had about a 40% reduction in all-cause and cancer-related mortality, 50% reduction in cardiovascular-related mortality. This is just 1 to 2 minutes 3 times a day. If you're familiar with HIIT training, high-intensity interval training, there's a lot of different ways to attack things. And again, it depends on your shape that you're in right now. What our bodies are trying to do is to maintain homeostasis, to find equilibrium, to find balance. At a time when everything is out of balance, and literally, as we have shared, the very elemental makeup of everything that we see is changing due to changes in the ether. This is huge. It cannot be understated.
No, it can't. And it's so very important right now. We really cannot stress enough how much you need to take care of yourself and detox and exercise. And yes, it might be difficult. It's hard to get off the chair. A lot of times currently with what I'm going through, because, all you other women out there that are a little bit older, when you start to go through the change, you get tired. Maybe you like to exercise when you're younger, but right now it's like my body doesn't want to, but I'm forcing it to, because I know I need that muscle right now. And if you're not currently detoxing every single day, you're just taking on loads and loads of toxins. And that's kind of, it's a scary way to think, but it's the truth. It's the truth. If you are not deliberately taking the time to drink the extra water, to do the things, to do the exercise, sweat, take care of yourself, you are just really taking on the toxins. And with what we have coming with this current solar sneeze, we can't afford to do that. We have to push ourselves. As tired as I am, I push myself, and I know you can too. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yes, each one of us does have our own unique conditions and things we're going through. Simple things like chair squats. And if you're stuck in an office, there was times in my life where I was glued to a desk for 50 to 60 hours a week. But thankfully, I kept up with my exercise routine, and I found ways to work around it. This was a video I did 8 years ago talking about this Weider home gym, and in fact, this is I think the very first video I ever did, which was a demo of this exercise equipment, which was invaluable to me, being kind of like a roving manager where I didn't know where they were going to ask me to move to next. I just took this one piece of equipment and would do a full body workout. And I could work out, basically without pause. So I could do resistance exercise to hit the muscles, yet at the same time do them without really taking a break, so you get a cardiovascular effect. I loved it. It was like $100 piece of equipment, which I'm not even sure if they make anymore. But as it turned out, this was one of our top 10 videos, and it was the very first video I ever did, 78,000 views 8 years ago. I had set this up again I had set up my YouTube channel to keep up with clients that I was training and working with and doing energy work and providing nutritional counseling, as well as sometimes, again, exercise routines and either helping them in the gym or wherever. And it was just one of the things I was doing to keep in touch with people, and then it turned into something totally different as time went on. Physical healing, please do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com. We'll be doing some updates to it again, and keeping it flowing with everything new as things develop. But yes, I was a personal trainer. I've done nutritional coaching, sports nutrition, one of the studies that I was deep into, as well as, of course, Qigong, Reiki master teacher, studied everything from craniosacral therapy, polarity therapy, massage therapy. I've gone all the way down health and wellness and fitness, because I was a very, very fat, picked on 10 to 12-year-old, and it really hit me and caused me to become somebody that was always into health and fitness. So obviously, when you see stuff like this is really disconcerting. Hundreds of gallons of milk recalled for concerns of a cleaning agent contamination. Somebody dropped some sort of toxic cleaner there in the vats full of milk. This is just crazy. How does this happen?
Oh, this is just really, really terrible. Look at this. I mean, your children, this goes in kids' I would be terrified. I would be devastated. I would be looking in my fridge.
So this is Prairie Farms. By the way, like Cindy pointed out, no artificial growth hormones. It's again just a sign of the time. There's been tons, as this person says, recalls. Yeah, by the way, if you didn't see it, Kroger's recalling a whole bunch of things across 18 states. I'll put these links in there. All sorts of things. A lot of them are just potential allergens, which, again, to somebody that can be affected by, say, a wheat allergy or something like that. It still can be very, very deadly. But here you go. Some items, By Heart infant formula. And again, these are through mostly the southern tier here, Georgia, South Carolina, but also up into Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, North Carolina, Virginia, Texas, Louisiana, and this is just one of the items. Jenny's passion fruit dreamsicle ice cream bars. You have skeleton wax candles. There's a lot of candles that literally contain toxic lead in them. Haagen-Dazs dark chocolate ice cream mini bars. Oh man, that sounds good. But yeah, when you look at it too, Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry's, those used to be brands I used to buy. And shoot, we haven't eaten ice cream in I don't know how long now. It's because they have put in there carrageenan and other additives that don't need to be in there, and now it's something that we just wouldn't buy. Some Kroger peach products, I'll give you guys the list, but there's a whole bunch of things being recalled here. Makes you really, really wonder about the food supply. How about this? Again, canola oil, rapeseed was toxic, gave heart lesions to mice in the 50s. They rebranded it as canola instead of rapeseed, subsidized it into every kitchen. Yeah, it's not good. And they might go and try to fight that statement that it's not good. But most people, I think, at this point recognize there's a problem with canola oil, yet it's everywhere. And this is just so disappointing. And we've seen this in so many different areas. This homeowner had a spectacular garden, tons of fresh produce growing, beautiful sunflowers. I mean, she starts crying here because, the city officials trimmed it out for her because she wasn't allowed to have it. It was something that was dangerous. How could this be dangerous? It's dangerous to the system when we can grow our own food that is still not going to be as healthy as it can be because of everything that's coming from the skies every single day. This just makes me nauseous and very, very angry.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty tough to watch, but it's everything an accumulation of where we're at today and looking at the situations that have been upcoming for years, and people say, "Oh, well, nothing is changing. Things are the same. Nothing's changing." Well, yes, they are, because we really should be able to grow food in our front yard. That's huge. I think this is huge, and when it comes to the world that we live in now and what we're looking at and what we're faced with, part of our lives with Mike and I, we keep an eye on these things, but the other part is very much into the health and fitness, because we know mind, body, spirit, and having those complete is going to be so important for the times to come, to have that strength. And if you have nothing else to fall back on, you have your spiritual aspect of yourself, and that no one can take that away. Absolutely no one can take that away. You would have to give it away or want it to go away. But once you develop that, it gives you another type of inner strength to go on.
These times are changing. The ether is changing. The elements are changing. I think the impossible can become every day in a positive light. I really do. One of our regulars is saying, what's up with you? You're looking at everything through rose-colored glasses. Well, no, actually, I think, again, so much of everything has been hindered, and we could do much, much better. This, by the way, is supposedly a phone that, again, look at this. This is from like 1900 and something, just barely over. And they're communicating on a phone out in public. There you go, radio telephone receiving set. $24. Wow, that's a deal. Pretty cool. I thought this was really interesting. Do lions have accents? Study shows big cats from different African regions roar in dialects, distinct dialects. Why, again, does everybody in, say, Boston have a particular sort of accent? Everybody in New York, particular sort of accent. I was thinking about Australia. Again, it's so distinctive. You could usually tell somebody from Australia as opposed to somebody from the UK. And then, of course, a lot of the terms are different. What makes us have these different dialects? It is kind of fascinating, isn't it? And then if other animals have the same thing. I mean, I'd never noticed our dogs barking with a southern drawl, but
No, I didn't. But you know what? When we went to the desert, they might have noticed the other dogs have a funny accent. I don't know. Dogs would know. Other birds might know. But I mean, it's a curious concept. I kind of think they do. I kind of think that they do, because you're just in a whole nother world with different sounds, different habitats. You have to make different urgent noises as an animal. So yeah, I think dialects are so very interesting, and our animals also.
And so ultimately this study goes into geography and even things like the vegetation having an effect on dialect. Again, ultimately they don't know, but there is a difference there, and it's really weird to think of this. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. This guy, he's good with the snow.
I want 2 of them.
Again, if you need help with energy work, biofield tuning, again, maybe you want to learn some techniques as far as energy work goes, also mind, body, breath work, nutrition, any sort of coaching. We do basically life coaching in general and spiritual coaching. When you really look at it, everything here is really a spiritual journey in the first place.
We do, and with our energy sessions, most of the time if you come in and you have your date of birth and your information, we pull a chart so that we can look and see where are you at, what's going on in your life, and do the energy work, the coaching. It all comes together in a very holistic manner to get you going in the right direction.
So, as always, guys, thank you for your support. Please do like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We put up videos most days of the year, probably take just about 3 or 4 days off each year. Other than that, we're always working. As always, much love, source bless, and namaste.
Namaste.